I got a question for y'all. What are we gonna do with this offensive line? This offensive line looked like to be in shambles after what we saw in that preseason game against the Lions, and it seemed like every day with every update is body after body after body of linemen. Doesn't matter who it is, but people that now are very important to us are dropping like flies. So we're gonna talk about what we're gonna do at that position. And then also we're gonna kind of take a look back because I was gone for a little bit, but we're gonna take a look back at that game, kind of see some things that look good, but some also things we got to clean up as well. And also we lost a player today. And if you saw that game, and if you saw kind of what was leading up to it, you shouldn't be surprised that this player is no longer with the Commanders. But we about to take a dive and look into it. Let's go.
Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, or go home. Go hard, or go home. Yeah, these championship rings on my hands now.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. But before we get started, I need one thing from you. Hit that subscribe button below. You see it is right there. Just take you a second, hit that subscribe button. You already pulled up 2-3 times. Why not lock in with your boys? Hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss another thing. Yeah, man. Welcome back to another episode of Mike Check. I'm your man, Mike. And we got some things to talk about, man. First, I'm gonna take it back a little bit because in this last preseason game, it's a lot to break down from that. But first, I'm gonna start with I'm gonna go position by position, and I'm gonna start with the man himself, JD. And a lot of talks was going leading up into this game because there's always a question: do you play your starting QB or do you not play him in the preseason? We knew we wasn't going to see him in that first game or this next upcoming third game. But the question is will the starting QB play in that second game? And if so, how long will he play? So that question was not answered up until game time, where reports came out that uh, Jaden was going to play for just the first series, no matter what happened. Um, and when he came out, first of all, my expectations was I was just hoping that number one, he didn't get hurt. Check that box off. But number two, I just wanted to kind of see him. Actually, the second one I mentioned a few weeks ago, I wanted him to take a hit or get sacked. I did. Like I didn't want to go into the season, him coming off an injury plagued season. I didn't want to kind of go into that first game against the Eagles if he still has some kind of anxiety or whatever, or PTSD, like he stated in the Netflix season, a quarterback. I didn't want him to go into that first game with those jitters. So I kind of wanted him to get some contact. He hasn't been hit so far this off season. I kind of wanted him to get hit a little bit, maybe take one sack, and kind of get that out of his system, and that we could check that box off as well. But next, I kind of wanted to see him move the ball, um, especially because we have this offensive line that we're going to get into. Wanted to see if they're actually capable of protecting him, and actually doing a serviceable job. We'll get into that later. But also, I want to kind of see him move this ball in this new offense with David Blau, and kind of see him orchestrate that offense down the field and kind of get some positive yards. And we did not see that at all. He he only played 3 plays, and the 3 plays consist of him throwing it out. He got some pressure right in his face immediately, threw it out to the running back on the right side. Just threw it out there for an incomplete pass. He took a sack, and then they drew up a draw play for that last play. So because it was third and forever. So we didn't really get to see him move the ball with that offense as well. Stephon Diggs, who we're about to get into next, we didn't really get to see him work at all. McLaurin, none of those guys. A lot of the starting running backs were out. So we didn't really that part is still a question mark if you're kind of wondering what that offense is going to look like. Um, Next, I kind of want to get into, and we could kind of put all this into one, where the first game of the preseason against the Dolphins, if you noticed, it was also, rumors and reports of this as well. Will Harris was our starting safety last year. He was playing deep into the third quarter against the Dolphins. And if you're playing deep into preseason games, you either on the bubble or you're, maybe a practice squad depth type of guy. If you're a starter or you're going to be relied on heavily during the season, you're not going to be playing deep into the third and fourth quarter of the first preseason game. So it came into now this game against the Lions, and as soon as the game is about to start, we start seeing them, practice come on the field. Reports come out, oh, Stephon Diggs is wearing a number 3. Immediately when I saw this, I'm like, oh, he knows something that we don't know. He got a feeling on something that, you know, we just don't it ain't hit us yet. Um, but when I saw it, I said Will Harris is gone. Done deal. Where Will Harris is gone, because at the same time Stephon Diggs came in a few weeks ago, he knew Will Harris had 3. He didn't take it. So now he decides to switch his number to 3, which is Will Harris 3. And you already kind of saw Will Harris. He didn't play well last season, but you already saw the writing on the wall as far as the playing time and the lack thereof of him making plays. And then in that Lions game, I'm gonna just talk about Will Harris since the elephant is now walking in the room. Will Harris did not play well against the Lions also. That big run by the Lions QB that was off the left side, yes, the whole defense missed it. The rookie missed it, Josephs missed it, Sonny Styles missed it. Everybody got fooled by the fake. Will Harris, if you look back, Will Harris is the last line of defense. He's back there, all the way up off the line. If he's the last line of defense, you got to make that play. Don't get all the way. Hold on, pause. I'm about to say something crazy, but don't get sucked in like that all the way deep into the defense. Where if he gets past you, he already got past Josephs. He got past Sonny. All of them got faked. If he get past you, it's a done deal. And he was lost. He didn't know what was going on. So, um, to me, that play was telling. And also, again, I will speak again. The playing time. If you look back, you still see Will Harris on that field late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter. He's still out on the field. It was a wrap. It's a done deal. You know what I mean? They're giving you time to put stuff on tape for another team. So here it is, Tuesday morning, comes out, Will Harris was released. And what I do like is that they didn't drag it on. The writing was on the wall. The team could have knew. Certain players kind of was probably feeling it, which is why Stephon Diggs pulled that number up off of them real quick. But they also if you're a veteran guy, let your vets be released before cut down day. So at least they could have a little head start before all of those players from every team get cut. At least Will Harris can kind of talk to some teams, kind of see if they have safety needs or whatever. And they may want a vet instead of some of these other players that they have. And at the same time, I know we talk bad about our roster and our depth, but our roster and depth is probably a lot better than a lot of these other teams out here who, in this case, has needs, for a safety position. So I do like that he kind of getting a head start for it as well, and we're not just dragging it on for him to play almost the whole game against the Ravens coming up this week on Friday. So next, running back position, can't really speak too much about that. Katron Allen really didn't do much. We did set Rashad White still dealing with an injury, Bill Crosby Merritt as well. So we didn't see any of them. Um, so not really anything to discuss. Um, what I do like, Jaden, not five, but Jaden M. Effin Bradley, man. That catch that he made, that one-handed grab that he made from AK. I think if this is just me, okay, I don't think if you put Bradley, if you cut Bradley, because too many eyes. When I saw that catch, I immediately think, oh shit, this going out to all teams is going to see this. This is, NFL put this on all their platforms. People retweeting and seeing this. All teams seeing this. It's on every highlight reel all day long. If you cut Bradley, it's not a for sure. It's not a given that he's going to be available and kind of go through waivers, and you're able to sign him back to your practice squad. That now is before before that catch. All right, you can kind of hide him a little bit. Ain't nobody looking for Bradley right now. Undrafted, free agent. Nobody's looking for him. After that, people like, hold on. Especially, and that's the thing. You got to think about teams like the Dolphins who are rebuilding. Think about teams like the Raiders or like the some bad teams that are looking for good young players who are looking to the if the Raiders aren't and the Browns or whoever is not good at drafting players, you're gonna go to team. You're gonna look at teams rosters who you think has good players. We see a lot of our players get snatched immediately now because we actually have a competent GM now that's actually bringing in some quality players. So other teams is going to look at our releases and say, yo, Jaden Bradley, oh, he made a catch against the Lions. One-handed, tough catch, was able to fend off the defender with one arm and catch it with the other hand. Let's pull him in. He could be our sixth, seventh receiver on this team. That's how teams like, who are the bottom feeders will think, though. If they're looking for a wide receiver that they can kind of groom, that's one right there. So I don't think that it's safe, to kind of, yeah, you could try to be like, yo, like, what I mean? We're gonna sign you back on this practice squad. He looking for a real opportunity to get some real time. He's confident in his ability, So you could potentially lose somebody like that you can kind of, he has so far he's showing everything you need except for he wasn't a high draft pick, or he wasn't even drafted at all. He has the size 6'4", so he's a bigger receiver than what you have on the team. He's showing that he has great hands. He's showing that he has a decent route running. He was in the off season with Jaden when he was going out to LA. He was one of the receivers out there trying to work with Jaden to get, with every opportunity that he could, catching passes from Jaden. So I think this is just me. I'm just playing a numbers game. One thing about Treylon Burks is that they like him for his size and, his strong hands. He's not the best route runner, doesn't have great speed, but he was a good developmental, he was a first round pick. He's a good developmental wide receiver. But where has he been? Lately, a lot in his career. He's been on the bench. He's been with the trainers getting worked on because of injuries. He's had a few nicks when he was with us. First couple of days after training camp started, where was he? On the sideline for a foot injury. He misses time. He hasn't really shown that he, is reliable. Right now, these are because I'm a do my again. I'm gonna do my depth chart, kind of seeing who I think is going to make this team. But for my wide receivers right now, we got Terry, we got Diggs, we got Luke, we got Jalen Lane, we got Diami, we got Antonio Williams coming in at number 6, and for my 7th right now is Jaden Bradley. That's my 7th. I'm not putting Van Jefferson over him. Not at first it was Traylon Burks because I just thought that they just for whatever reason they hooked on him for what could be. He's already with the team. They working with him. What he could probably be a little something. So he got the size. He was the biggest receiver that we had thus far. So it was Traylon Burks. Now I'm swapping Jaden Bradley for Burks, and we are going into the season with seven receivers. I'm saying seven because at the same time we lost a lot of players on special teams. I know, and Luke and Jalen Lane is going to work heavily with. We saw Luke catching kick returns and punts in the fourth quarter against the Lions just to get work, just to get practice. So those two are going to be used heavily in with special teams. I think that's going to soften up that wide receiver room to where you can hold seven now. And so I think Bradley's going to make this team, man. I think he's going to make this team. So and again, just moving on with tight end position, they definitely look like they missed some blocks against the Lions. Look like a lot of early on pressure that five was getting was because of the tight ends not picking up certain blocks. I'm not going to put it all on the center position, which was horrendous, but I think some of the tight ends could have helped a lot better than what they did. And speaking about offensive freaking line, like, oh man, it seems like this offensive line is going to make or break this season, you know. And it's going to be if we are able to overcome all of the adjustments that we're going to have to do with this line just to make it through. Uh, as soon as we lost Tunsil, we thought that the band-aid was going to be, oh, just kick out Brandon Coleman to the left tackle position. Um, still have Allegretti, who we still don't know about. He's been hurt. We got good Jones, bad Jones at center. As the backup, will he be good for us so bad? We don't know. So far, it's been terrible. And then we have a rookie that is still he's just learning. He's a rookie, and with rookies, we know it comes rookie mistakes. And that's one position that you really can't afford a lot of mistakes is at the center position. Um, Connolly is in his second year, still learning as well. The for sure position we have is right guard with Cosme. Um, we got Trent on the left guard position, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And today, first we saw that the team brought in 8 players to kind of look at, and none of them was offensive linemen. That kind of shocked me a little bit because I'm like, to me, that's our biggest need right now. It's not corner, even though that's still not the biggest, but it's probably top two. But it's not corner, it's not safety. To me, it's offensive line because without that, the risk of this season being in jeopardy outweighs the secondary to me. If your offensive line is crap and you got JD5 out there running for his life, getting hit, getting banged up, out for a few weeks, potentially, your season is done. If you have a solid offensive line and your secondary is kind of giving up a big player here and there, you can at least hope that JD can kind of do his thing and get you a win. But without him, I mean, with that line being shaky, it could be a wrap early. So we brought in Humphreys, a vet. He started a game with the Rams last season. He has maybe 80 to 90 starts, all snaps over the last 2 years. Um, a lot of people think that he may come in because we kind of heard that Brandon Coleman, could be, they're not really discussing injuries right now, but Brandon Coleman could be dealing with an injury as well. That um they could probably bump Brandon Coleman back to his position at left guard and kind of have Humphreys as a left tackle, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that this move of bringing in this veteran does anything to the line as well. What I do think the team desperately needed, and we kind of mentioned it before, is depth. Now that Tunsil is out, and you had to use some of that depth with Brandon Coleman and utilize him in the left tackle position. That kind of weakened your. Now you can't afford any more injuries. You couldn't afford Brandon Coleman going down. Who else is going to left tackle? They really don't want to bump Connerly off of that right tackle position and move him to the left right now. So it's like, if he goes down, what are you going to do now with this move? Because we're not done. Like, we're not done trying to get this depth of the old line together. But at least with this signing of Humphreys at left tackle, if something does happen at that left tackle position with Brandon Coleman, if he struggles, if he gets injured, anything like that, at least you have a vet that you can kind of, you're not going to panic. You got somebody who, yes, he has some snaps, he has some plays. He started a game last season. You're not just going to shit the bed. Like, you're not just going to be like, you're not going to be trembling. So I don't think that this is a move to kind of really shake up the line as far as putting Humphreys in his starting position right away. I do think it's more of a depth piece. And I do think Brandon Coleman will stay at that left tackle position, because if you remember, I know people's memory is kind of foggy, but a lot of the um, success that line had in 2024, Brandon Coleman was at that left tackle position. Please remember, please go back. He was there. A lot of those, great protections and all like that, those deep passes when JD is throwing it to McLaurin against the Bengals and all these good plays. Look who the left tackle was. Look at that old line in general. Like, it wasn't a lot of Tunsil was not here. Remember that, please. Tunsil was not here. We was okay. You know what I mean? So, um, but again, I think what may kind of change up, and what will kind of be a lot of pressure early on, is play calling. Is play calling. What is David Blau going to do to compensate for a terrible offensive line and a terrible center position? How is he now? And I'm glad he has time to figure this out. But I don't want to go into Philly without a plan. I want them, and that's why I'm glad that Jaden played. I want you to kind of go in and see that the old line is effed up. I want you to know it now, because now that David Blau knows that old line is effed up and he can't really trust it like that. How many plays off rip are we really going to see um, Jaden under center? Because when David Blau came in, he said, "Oh, it's not just going to be like no shotgun." You know what I mean? And we just doing straight under, putting Jaden under center. It's going to be like 50-50, 60-40. All right, cool. Maybe to start the year off, it's more like 40-60. 40 under center, 60 shotgun. Just because you early on, you don't want to get JD annihilated, against that Philly defensive line. So it's like, maybe early on in the season, when you have to face defenses in your first 2 weeks of Philly and then Seattle, maybe we see more shotgun, more screens, things like that, to kind of get the ball out of JD5's hands quick. I think we may see some of that just to kind of compensate for this O line being terrible. That's something to watch for. But let's talk quick about the defense. We already know first 2 drives for the defense was beautiful. We like seeing the pressure, and what shocked me, and what probably shocked you at home, was us dialing up corner blitzes. First of all, on the uh second play of the game. But even in the preseason, and to me, when I saw that defense in its entirety in that game, when the starters were out there, they were kind of that's what you're gonna see. The aggression, uh, blitzes, when you don't know who's coming, quarterback didn't see nothing. All of a sudden, he turned to the left. Amik Robinson was right in his chest. To me, that's what you're going to see with the starters. As soon as those first two drafts came out and Luvu came out, Amik Robertson came out, Mikey came out, all of them came out the game, that defense was vanilla. You wasn't seeing too much. They was in like a 4-3 after that. They wasn't sending nobody like that. They chilled out. They like, okay, cool. We see what's going to be. Like, we can chill now. We don't need to show everything. They just wanted to test out some things, see some people flying around. And after that, after they saw those two drives where they forced two turnovers, we good. And then they went vanilla after that. Kept everything in front of them, just basic, just work on tackling. It wasn't nothing crazy. No, you're not sending crazy safety blitzes. You didn't see none of that for the rest of the game. So as far as the defense overall, we could talk about a few positions. People, for whatever reason, is really trying to people who think that Sonny Styles is not doing a good job as a rookie so far. I don't know what you're watching. You can see there was a few breakdowns that I saw of Sonny Styles, and it's like he's what stands out to me the most. Yes, he has some things to work on. Upper body strength, to me, that's the biggest thing I feel like he needs to work on is like upper body strength, you know, but he's smart as hell. He's smart as hell. If you remember that one play where he sunk back into the defense, almost back into the secondary, and was looking at a receiver. Like once he saw that the receiver was not coming to him, was not coming in the middle, he saw the receiver turn his hips. He immediately flipped his hips on the inside to cover like the tight end or like to cover that area. But he that was his assignment. He's watching the slot receiver. If the receiver would have came to him, that was his man. So he was eyeing him. Soon as he saw him flip his hips, this going to the left, he immediately knew, okay, cool. That's not my assignment. Now he's just caught wreaking havoc in the middle, making it difficult for the quarterback to really zone in on another target. He did that a few times in that game where he understands what he is supposed to do. Is he hitting every gap with authority right now in the preseason? No. And that's where I think the upper body strength could come in at. Sometimes you can kind of see a play where he's trying to, he's in a gap and, somebody is kind of overpowering him a little bit. But you can also see some plays where he's actually standing his ground as well, and not allowing that to happen. So I think that Sonny Styles is doing a really good job so far in the preseason, learning a lot. But the movement, the quickness, the way he can turn his hips from one side to another, kind of focus it in on different things that he needs to focus on, and just to me, his what's between the ears, what's in the helmet, to me is kind of outshining the most because just people think that he's doing this bad job. I think he's where he needs to be. Against the Dolphins, there was a play where it was a big run by the Dolphins, but he was in his gap, and Leo Chenal overran the play and allowed the running back to go right by him. But he closed his gap that he was supposed to and allowed Leo Chenal to have a free tackle at the running back, and Leo Chenal overran it and had to come back and try to make a tackle. So, I mean, we'll see when it comes closer to the season and get into that Philly game. But I think that he's doing a really good job. And what you kind of see is that, when to me, green dot is going to be Sonny Styles. If Sonny Styles come out the game, they said that the green dot is going to be Frankie Louvu. To me, those are the only two options. I don't think Frankie Louvu is going to come off the field too many times. And I think if he does, Sonny Styles is going to be on the field. I think Leo Chenal is going to replace either Louvu or Sonny Styles, depending on who's out. But I don't think you're going to see Sonny and Frankie off the field together unless, barring any injuries. They're not going to be off the field at the same time a lot to me. Sonny Styles going to be green dot. If he has to come off, Leo Chenal will cover him. And Frankie Louvu same as well. They'll flip flop. But I liked a lot from the defense. What I didn't like about the defense is that run defense. And Payne, again, it could be because they're not trying to do too lot in the preseason as far as a lot of these defensive linemen. They're trying to get through the preseason, but I need to see more. They giving up 4 or 5 yard carries to running backs in the preseason. Can't do that against Saquon. Can't do it. So that run defense, that defensive line, the interior of that defensive line, I feel like, and that will help when Owe, because we haven't seen Owe in the preseason. That'll help when once we have everybody there, all the starters playing, running around. I think it'll look a lot different. But early on, so far, and I don't want us to look like a well-oiled machine, a Super Bowl type team during the second week of preseason. You're going to see mistakes. I don't want us to think that we arrived in the preseason. Offense could look a little shaky. Not that offensive line, though, but the offense in general could look a little shaky. Defense can have some things they need to work on. That's good. But we got to be ready. Got to be ready for the Eagles, man. But and also what we got coming up this week is joint practices, man, against the Ravens. I think, again, we're going to see a lot of the starters play in this joint practice against, and I think it's going to be some good work, man. The team needs it. The offensive line needs it. Jaden needs it. Some good work against another defense is definitely needed. So I'm looking forward to that. Praying for no injuries again. And it's almost cut down day. We already got one player out of here as far as Will Harris, but it's a lot more coming. A lot of them are expected, but we could see a couple more that kind of surprises us as well. So we're gonna dive into it as the news come along. But yeah, man, this was a good update, man, but a lot of things that I'm not worried, and it's not keeping me up at night yet, but it's something that's on my mind that I kind of want us to kind of clear up, and that's that both lines, offense and defense. Offense, especially getting that together so that I can feel a little bit more comfortable about them, getting that defensive interior line together, not giving up a lot of big plays up the middle. But yeah, man, we'll see. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Extreme Mediocrity Sports Show and Mike Check. It's your man Mike, and if you did not do so already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss another episode, another update, or anything like that. We got you covered as well. Until next time, see you. Peace.
Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, or go home. Go hard, or go home. Yeah, these championship rings on my hands now. In my head, I'm top 10, yeah, that's hands down. You a squad, now you're looking man down.